So I'm going to go through this. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to be polishing it the entire way from start to finish, the whole entire process, and we are going to turn this tank into a crispy, nice mirror finish. So here it is, a little bit better up close. You can tell what we're starting with. It's nothing pretty, it's nothing fancy. This tank actually has a lot of factory mill lines in it that we're going to be trying to take out, and a lot of these little pits and whatnot. We're going to be sanding them out and getting it nice and smooth. And never forget, guys, the smoother your surface is, the shinier it will be. All right, now we got our first step of sanding done, and she's getting a lot smoother. What we did there is rotary 320 with the Maverick abrasive disc, the purple ones. Those cut amazing. All right, so now you can see most of the pits are gone and all the mill lines are gone. That's a really good start. That's our 320. That was our first step. We were using the purple ceramic Maverick disc. Those work really well for cutting all that nasty gunk out. Now we're going to move on to our 600 grit. That'll be Hermes, and we're going to do the exact same thing. And I did high-speed rotary sand this. For you guys at home, you do not need to do that. You can do the same exact steps with a DA palm sander. It's just going to take you a little bit longer, and you probably won't be able to cut as deep. But it's a lot safer route for you beginners. All right, as you can see, we've got the 600 rotary all finished up. Now what we're going to do for our finishing stages is move on to a DA palm sander. That's going to leave us a smoother, finer finish, in my opinion. We will still be using the exact same sandpaper, 600 grit Hermes. Now we've got our finished sanding done. We are ready to move on to our polishing stages, but I wanted to point a few things out and show you guys a few things about this step in particular. First and foremost, just like I stated in the very beginning of the video, the smoother you get the surface, the shinier it will be. And I do believe that finishing with a palm sander versus a rotary sander is a smoother finish. A lot of people will say that the little DA hooks are harder to get out. I think that depends on the user. And it really truly does depend on the metal that you're working with as well. It is easier to get these sanding hooks out of rounded surfaces versus flat surfaces, in my opinion. I also wanted to show you guys how evenly and symmetrical all my spacing is. If you look at like these little triangles, it's kind of hard to tell in this video, but in person you can see it a lot better. And everything is very, very symmetrical on that. And that, again, is going to help the surface be as smooth as absolutely possible. Polishing stages, we are going to be using the 20-ply red and pink airway with our 6,000 RPM grinder. If you do not have a 6,000 or you're a newer guy, I would highly recommend the 35 variable. These wheels are only rated for 3,500 RPM anyway. And we're going to be using the Q69 bar. There's my tip of the day.
Well, we got our first cut done. That came out amazing, as you can tell. Let's flip this camera around so you can see the actual results.
So as you can tell, it is coming out to a pretty good mirror finish. We still have some hash in there and some fog we got to take care of, but we'll get to that. For our first cut, I'm happy with it. We switched over to a UBM wheel, and we're going to be using the Wild Cherry bar, sticking with the 6K grinder still. And I don't know if you guys can really tell much, but that did spruce it up quite a bit. There's a lot more clarity in it. And like I said, I don't really know if you can tell much on camera, but in person, there's a lot more. We're going to move on to the finishing stages now and call it a day.
Well, guys, unfortunately, as usual, I jumped the gun and got a little bit ahead before I started recording. I did get this tank all finished up and wrapped up. Let's go about what we did for the finishing steps. So I'm a pretty big fan of these flannel and UBM wheels for the finish buffs, the combos, and I like to run them with that blueberry bar there. I think that leaves a pretty good finish. As you guys can see, nice crispy mirror finish.